gentlemen, we are the group come from Xinzhuang Senior High in New Taipei City, and the topic of our report is Epidemic Prevention versus Human Rights. Before I start the report, I have to say something beforehand, because this is a very big topic, so when we are preparing our report, the content of it is a little bit too much. So we would revise our content according to the time. So hope that you can forgive our mistakes. Firstly, we're gonna introduce our group. We are the collaboration of Stream 1 and Stream 3, which included different specialties. First, Stream 1 would introduce the information of disease and virus. And then, Stream 1 would introduce the incident of Heping Hospital incident and the epidemic prevention policy recently. So, first, that we welcome the first member to introduce some information of coronavirus.
COVID-19 is the first coronavirus that's a global pandemic, and it is a large virus group that finds in human bodies and animals. As the study shows, there's this kind of coronavirus that found in our body, and it is a zoonosis. Okay, I'll talk about the next topic, that's characteristic of coronavirus. When it comes to coronavirus, RNA virus is the first thing that must be mentioned. Its copy accuracy is not precise as DNA virus, and it is the much important because RNA virus can make a mutation that makes the virus become more dangerous and infected our cells. Another is that there are no sources, such as bats, divers, and snakes can become vectors. They can also cause human transmission due to the mutation of itself. The other important characteristic is ACE2 replication. It allows the virus to infect our cells.
Okay, I'm Lucy, and next we are going to talk about the transmission routes of coronavirus. Currently, we still can't know the transmission routes of coronavirus. The virus discharges in the nose and mouth or stay in a confined environment within 2 meters with confirmed passion without respiratory protection for a long time will increase a long high risk of infection. It may transmit between humans through droplets and contact, and otherwise confined environments otherwise confirmed patient can have infectively 2 days before onset.
Okay, hello everyone, I'm Jin Chen, and I'm going to talk about the hardest hit area of SARS and COVID-19. SARS is an epidemic which caused by SARS-CoV. It is not only spread in China, but also dominating in 29 countries and areas, including Taiwan. Its origin comes from Guangdong, China. The epidemic outbreak worsened due to population movement, and it caused 8,000 people infection. In the beginning, the epidemic of COVID-19 was discovered in Wuhan, China. It spread to the whole world quickly and early in 2020 and gradually became global plague. The world has exceeded 100 million confirmed cases so far.
Okay, I'm Ella. I'm going to talk about the event of Heping Hospital branch. Okay. In April 2003, after SARS broke out from Heping Hospital, the government made the hurried decision to shut down the hospital. Those who stuck in Heping Hospital can make sure of their resources of their daily needs. So, the hospital is designed to accommodate about 200 people, but by that time it was crowded with more than 1,000 people. The people outside and inside of the hospital are in a panic. And not until the scholar and experts of the CDC enter the hospital, the situation becomes under control. And according to the diary that Dr. Lin wrote when he was the doctor in Heping Hospital, the place could even The place to differentiate between Part A and Part B. The Part A leaves no more sickness, and Part B leaves the suspected cases. Those who live in Part A will discriminate against those who live in Part B, and those who live in Part B will do something similar to those who have SARS. Dr. Lim wrote a sentence in his diary like this. The solution of discrimination is not love and tolerance. It is infection. Because when you infect SARS, you will turn into the opposite position.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the victim in this world. There are some famous victims in this world. For example, a nurse who died of SARS and the doctor whose reputation was broken just because he didn't return into a hospital in the meantime. But there were more and more health personnel who fell into an abyss of suffering at the first time, even those who died.
Okay, after we understand the detail of the incident, next part we're gonna understand the reaction of the government. Only entry-level employees are impeached successfully after the incident. And then, when the supervisory yuan, another name is control yuan, faced this kind of consequence, it just ended this incident by a paper correction. On the other hand, the ex-President Ma and the ex-President Yu of the Congress passed the buck around each other recently, which means there's no politician want to take the responsibility of this tragedy. And then, when the victims get the result of the constitutional interpretation, it affirmed the policy of the government at that time. According to the president of Judicial Court, Xu, he reminds us that people should pay attention on the consequence of public power.
Okay, after understanding the Heping Hospital event, we want to develop some idea that makes everybody think about. Is epidemic prevention more important than human rights, and how to balance it? And whether the government should compensate the victims, and how to compensate them. And last, what is procedural justice play in this event?
We'll briefly compare the SARS and COVID-19 by the form. COVID-19, the people who infected with COVID-19 may have the symptoms of fever, limb weakness, and cough. And the incubation period is 4 to 10 days, and the most dangerous infection is after onset 2 to 3 days. And SARS, and the patient infected symptoms with SARS have fever, shortness of breath, and cough. The incubation period is 2 to 7 days, and the most dangerous period is after onset 7 to 10 days. In terms of oral points, COVID-19 and SARS is approximately equal to each other, but SARS mortality are even higher. In addition, COVID-19 doesn't have specific medicine, so we adopt supportive therapy. And the after effects of COVID-19 is fatigue, chest pain, headache, skin rash, and so forth.
Okay, let's talk about home quarantine and home isolation. They should stay at home, can go out and go abroad, and they should record the temperature condition and should keep safe distance with the co-resident. And the difference is home isolation, mainly for those who contact with confirmed cases, and home quarantine people for those who travel record of China, Hong Kong, and Macau.
Okay, because the time is not sufficient, so let's come to our conclusion. Easy to say, the policy of epidemic prevention recently is electronic digital fencing 2.0, and it will trace the people who are in home quarantine and home isolation. And our opinion of it is supportive. Every member of our group stands in a supportive position in this policy. Firstly, if we compare the policy in Taiwan to Singapore. It's okay, okay?
您顺请讲题。
Okay, I'll talk about mine first. You're very nervous, right? You know, when I was young and when I'm teaching right now, I also get nervous all the time. And even though my students cannot notice that, that is because I wear jeans. Yeah, my legs are always trembling all the time. But try to imagine that there's one way that perhaps can ease your nervousness. You can imagine the audience are all watermelons or animals. Yeah, just to like ease the atmosphere, okay? Alright, and about the part of forgetting our lines, it happens all the time. Even though the day before we've done rehearsals well, on the day that we're going to present the formal presentation, we all forget our lines, even me. This is what I'm good at, forgetting my lines. Okay, so no big deal, okay? Try to use yourself, alright? And you include a lot of information in your PowerPoint that is very good, but try to make more pages to let us understand more what you are trying to say, because your speed is going a little bit too fast, because you're trying to present all of the information within a limited amount of time, okay? You can try to delete some details if that happens and jump to the main points. Yeah, that's my suggestion. And about the topic, about the theme that you've given to us, you said epidemic prevention versus human rights, but currently we haven't heard of your discussions on human rights. Okay, this is one suggestion. And also another is that you have given us a lot of critical questions to think about, like 3 or 4 at the same time, but try to leave some pauses between one question and the other, so that we could have some time to think about what we are trying to respond. Or if you want to make the presentation even more interesting, the speaker could walk down to the stage and ask some of the volunteers answers. Perhaps that is one item that you could consider adding in the next time. Okay, so this is my comments. Thank you.
Well, teacher can say a lot already. Then I like, you know, your speak. You three are very flow and you speak so naturally. It's very good. And you two get a little bit nervous, so it's okay. Me too. I get nervous all the time, so don't worry about it. You know. Okay. In the middle of the presentation, you say makes us to reflect. You introduce so many things about COVID, and you say the similarity and difference between SARS and COVID also. In the middle of that, you make us to reflect, you know, to think about it. So that is good, okay? And because of time, you did a smart way to do your presentation at the end. You say you don't have time because of the time, blah blah blah. Then you go to the conclusion. So that is very, very good way, you know, of doing a presentation. Anyway, your group, your eye contact, everything is very good. But, you know, human rights, you should mention a little bit. Otherwise, if you don't have human rights, this part, you know, don't include on the title. You know, just say COVID, you know, prevention, something like that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.